Sometimes during the year, I spontaneously get ideas where I think, oh wow, that could be a lot of fun. Let's save those ideas for Dephemerember. And for today's prompt, which is mushroom robots, I want to try to bring one of those ideas to life in my Dephemerember journal. Welcome, it's Luise Heinzel, and this is Dephemerember 2023. Yay! Dephemerember is a collaboration with my dear friend Barbara at 49 Dragonflies, and it's all about making ephemera for your junk journal. And today I want to do something that is probably good if you have some aggressive feelings or so. I want to use this page here. I've already put that into my journal here because I have done something on the back already. Or perhaps this is the front and now this is the back, but that doesn't matter. Just wanted to tell you where this comes from. This is from one of my digital printable paper collections. This one is called Dephemerember Dreamland, and that's an additional printable for Dephemerember. You can find the link for this set down below in the description box. And this originally was, of course, a full sheet, but I've cut that in half to make it fit into my journal. And now I have this cool mushroom here for a background for what I want to do today. But before we can use this page, I want to take Harvey and I have to let out some aggressive feelings today. Effie was already a little bit afraid, and he was running around in the room because he thought that I want to do with him what I have to do with Harvey. I had a little discussion with him, but then he was glad that this would not happen with him. I want to take these two pieces of Harvey and make some earrings which you could either put into your junk journal, then those are junk journal earrings. I mean, a junk journal needs earrings. And you could also, of course, wear them if you have some things in mind. So you can do today's project also that you can wear them as real earrings. That's also possible. Harvey is a die cut by Zizix and Tim Holtz. The number is 666066. I mean, this number is like telling some really bad future stories, isn't it? I'm a little bit glad that there's also a 0 here and that it isn't 6 times 6. Do you know what I mean? So if you want to assemble Harvey in a really traditional way, then you could do it like here on the package. But you can also do several other things with him. And don't run away. You don't necessarily need this die cut for today's project. You can do that in a similar way, even if you don't have die cuts at all. But what I'm trying to say is I just wanted to mention a video where I have taken Harvey and I've grunged him up. And I have really detailed instructions how I did that. So I will link that video down below for you so that you can watch that if you want. And if you think perhaps these colors are not yours or you want to put him into a totally different context, that's what I'm going to do today as well. Perhaps the other video could be interesting for you as well. And from that other video, I had this Harvey left over. This is cut out by me, cut out from Ideology craft stock. If you have this die cut or you want to do this with a similar die cut, it's not important which paper you use. It doesn't have to be Ideology craft stock or something similar, but I mean, because the colors are not important for us here today, but I would recommend that you have something really sturdy because we want to work with wet mediums in a second, and for that it's necessary that this is sturdy and that it can't bend or warp or something. I have one mushroom robot body here, and the other body of my second mushroom robot is here. Can you see it? So they need some heads. And for the heads, I want to take another die cut set, and that is this one here, also by Zizix and Tim Holtz. The number of this set is 666280. And not only this set, but also another creator has brought me to the idea with the earrings, and I want to give a little shout out for her. So my idea for making earrings was inspired by Sharon. Perhaps you know her. She's such a gorgeous artist, and she made some earrings with this set, and I think it was a make for Tim when this set was released. I'm not totally sure, but I will link everything about those earrings, and of course also all of her social media down below so that you can check her out. And if you don't know her, please check her out. She's so cute, and she makes such amazing things. It's just gorgeous. And this set is not only good for earrings, but also for other things, of course. And you can do so many things with these shapes. And I thought, why don't we take this piece here? Because this has these little dots that reminds me to mushrooms and robots at the same time. Because the dots and the shape remind me to a mushroom, but this regular look of the dots reminds me to robots. And I thought this is the perfect piece, and I want to use that as the head for both of my mushroom robots. I'm also taking this piece, so if you have the same set, then you could consider using the same pieces like I use here, but you can do that with any other or nearly any other set that you have as well. Just take those die cut sets where like abstract shapes are, or you could of course also take some scissors and cut those shapes out from a little heavier paper. An alternative to this set could also be this. I have thought about this, but this is for my journal and for my idea a little bit too big. But if you want to have bigger mushroom robots, you could consider using this set, 665216. And as you can see, these shapes are relatively big, but look here, for example, there are some which could do the trick that I want to do here. So, but that's just a suggestion. Please use what you have, and if you don't have die cuts, then please try to find some alternatives. Take your scissors out. So we need this and this, and I also need some eyes, and for that I'm going to take this little thing here, this ring. And that doesn't make sense when I put it here, but that shall later on go here. And I also need these, I'm so sorry, these tiny dots for the eyes. And this mushroom robot shall also get some teeth. And for that, I'm going to use this little thing here on the right side and this on the left. And then I'm going to take the mouth from the Harvey set. So I'm going to cut my pieces from black watercolor paper. You can use what you want, you can use what you have, but I can recommend to use different papers, because in a second I want to paint all of my pieces with golden acrylic paint, and I want to have some texture on my pieces later. I want them gold, but I don't want them all the same. Okay, so this is the plan. Mushroom robot number 1, mushroom robot number 2. I want to take this piece here to build the head of the left one, and this here to build the head of the right mushroom robot. Can you see the mushroom here? He has the mushroom head and like a normal body, and this is like a whole mushroom. Then I have these two pieces, which shall go on here. I will not glue those together, so later on they will hang on the earring and they will be moving like this, so that you still can see these holes here in the piece below this solid piece. But I thought it would be a great idea to have some like dot texture on the top layer as well. Don't freak out if you see the color, this will change in a second. But I had this embossed piece left over. I've embossed that with an embossing folder, and these dots here are really cool in combination with these little holes here in the other layer. So I thought we can bring some texture in here by adding these. Then we have this little ring here and this little eye. And I've cut one of the bigger circles for the second eye, because I think that robots sometimes have different sized eyes. And for the eyes of this one, I want to use some metal, because, you know, robots, metal, that is something that belongs together in my head. So I have chosen these little guys here. I've had them in my stash. Don't ask me where I got them from, but these shall become the eyes of this little mushroom robot. And because he needs some pupils, he gets these. And I've also cut out these little mouth from the Harvey die cut. I have put them here into my little bowl to not lose them, but I will keep these black to have the mouth really like contrasting later here and here. And then I want to take nearly everything that I have here except the eyes. So I will take the pieces for the eyes and put them out of my way so that I can't get confused, because I want to paint all of these pieces now, and I want to give them some texture as well. The main idea behind this thing is that robots are made from different pieces which are puzzled together, and I want to show that on my earrings as well. But I want to have some really grungy and textured metal pieces, and for that I first want to add some clear gesso. I'm going to use this one here, because all of these papers have a different surface, and some of them are relatively slippery, like this, for example. This is matte photo paper, and I want to have my mediums that I want to add in a second hold on these materials really well. This is perhaps a little bit too much. Let's do it with my finger tool. I think that's better. So I think it's a good idea to have the same surface on every piece. That's the one reason for the gesso. The second reason is that I want to add some grit paste in a second, and that can hold on here better when you have this gessoed surface. And with dabbing this on like this with your finger or a paintbrush, you get some texture already in this step. And when this is dry, let's add some grit paste. I'm using the grit paste Opaque by Ranger today. You could also use the translucent grit paste or the grit paste Crypt or Snowfall or whatever you want. I want to have just some interesting texture here because I want to add some patina in a second, and I want to make this look like a little rusty, but patina rust, not this typical like orange rust. Do you know what I mean? But just a little different so that it also fits to my page later. And I'm going to add the grit paste now only to those areas where I can later on see it really well, meaning not in between of the layers of the heads, for example. So this, which is now orange, will become the top layer. So this will be shown in the end. This is below this, so I won't add any grit paste here, and also not to those pieces with the holes, because we won't see that later. And because this will go into my journal later, I want to avoid bulk. When I am happy with what I have here, I'm going to dry this with my heat gun as well, and I want to let this grit paste bubble a little bit. I know that that is not everyone's taste. You could let this air dry, of course, but I want to get a really rough patina to my pieces here later, and for that, those bubbles that come with too much heat on the paste are really helpful. So then, when this is dry, we can add some paint. I'm going to use Distress Paint Tarnish Brass, because I think that that is a really gorgeous color and a really, really wonderful gold. And with the different colors of this paper here, we also get a really great effect now, because all of those pieces will get a different shade of gold now. You can perhaps already see that here. This gets really warm because it was this orange red before, and this is relatively blackish. I don't know, can you see the difference between these? I can't bring that into words so well, because it's, yeah, sometimes also like an emotional thing, how you feel colors, but that is, in my eyes, a really great effect, because a robot is also not made out of the same materials. I mean, the different pieces of a robot. And when I have all of these pieces covered in gold, I will again use my heat gun and dry the surfaces, and I will let that bubble again. So I will overheat this to get additional texture. So then we have this gorgeous effect. I really like that. I want to add some crayons here now, and for that I'm going to take my journal here to decide which colors could be great for the patina. I could imagine that a really traditional orange rust could match this pink color of this page, but I also like the contrast that the page already gives us, because we have this here, and this will be relatively massive later. We will see relatively much of these mushrooms and the flowers and this color. So I thought it would be a better idea to go into this bluish, turquoiseish, greenish direction with the patina and with gold. That is also a nice idea, I would say. But you can, of course, try whatever you like and whatever you want. So I want to start with tumbled glass and cracked pistachio. I'm going to use these distress crayons here, and I will go over those areas which have the texture. Then I will go in with some cracked pistachio to give it a little bit more turquoise, and sometimes, especially, that seems to be a German phenomenon. I'm sorry, but sometimes I hear this sentence in German. It would be "viel hilft viel." That means something like a lot helps a lot. Yeah, so that means put a lot of something, like a medium, onto a project, and you will get a good result. In this case, and in so many other cases, that is not so true in my eyes. Every time when I hear people say that sentence, I am like, oh my goodness, please think about that for a moment. I mean, sometimes if you, for example, want to glue down something, you sometimes need a lot of glue to make that work. Okay, Sometimes you need a lot of medium. I mean, if you want to make a snowy landscape with texture paste, then you would probably need a lot of texture paste. Yeah, if you want to fill a whole canvas with blue paint, then you need a lot of blue paint. But in this case, I want to have a really visible and extreme patina. But be careful with your crayons. Don't add too much medium. It doesn't need much to get a nice patina. We have now two colors here, and that is what I'm trying to explain. I want to add more colors. Yeah, so many colors can, and I say can because that's not always the case, many colors can give you a great patina effect, but not much medium of many colors. Do you know what I mean? It's not the amount of medium, but sometimes the amount of the colors. And I'm trying to explain that, what I mean here on this page. So here you can see we have this bluish background. Here is a little bit of turquoise. I've tried to imitate those colors with tumbled glass and cracked pistachio. And as you can see, that already fits really well if you ignore the green of the little leaves there. Can you see this fits perfectly? You have the feeling that the colors in the background are in here as well. The same when you put it here where it's more turquoise-ish. Can you see that? But somehow if you put that next to those green leaves there, it's like biting a little bit. It's like popping out in an extremely, I don't want to say negative way, but it's not matching so well. So what can you do? Especially on such a page where so many colors are. I mean, this is relatively extreme, isn't it? Just take the colors that you've seen on the page, green, and add a tiny little bit of that on top of what you already have. I want to go with peeled paint and forest moss because I think those are the colors that match the page the best. And let's then take these pieces and put them to the green area here. And now you can hopefully see that this matches way better than before. I really like this. But I also want to add some more like brownish grunge to this, and for that I'm going to use some alcohol ink. This is the color Mushroom, and if you know mushroom alcohol ink, you know that that makes everything better. I mean, don't put that to your food, yeah? When I say everything, of course I don't mean things like food or your hubby or something like that, but of course I mean projects like this. So I'm just going to add a few drops of this, just the tiniest little bit, because I don't want to cover up my patina now, but I want to bring out the details of the die cut a little bit better. These two solid pieces, which will go in between of these and these, I want to have a little darker, so I'm going to add a little more alcohol ink here on the side where not the patina is, to not cover that up. For these pieces here, which are going to become the eyes of the smaller robot, I'm going to use some rust alcohol ink just to bring in a little bit of another color, and to make this like cohesive with the rest, I'm going to take a tiny little bit of this. Oh, that's not enough, already dry. And add that to the other pieces as well, but not too much, just a tiny little bit. So then let's make some holes into these pieces to be able to assemble our robot. So this is the bottom piece. Then we add this, and this. Of course, you can vary the order, but if you have the same die cut sets and if you want to do it exactly like I'm doing it here, then please just feel free to take the same order. And then I'm going to, I'm going to line this up, and I want to have this a little irregular, can you see? So that the second layer here, and that is perhaps even not enough, perhaps like this. I mean, these layers will move later, but of course, if we make a hole now, we can control that a little bit, what the things are doing when they are just hanging, or what is shown when they are just hanging. So I imagine this is the position of the pieces when they are just hanging like this on the earring. But I want to have everything lined up here on the top, so that all of the pieces, when you take them and put them to your table like so, are on the table. Because now we are going to place them here, and we are going to make a hole through all of those layers. Make sure to stay away from the edge of those pieces a little bit, so that the hole is not too close to the edge of the pieces, just like this, so that we then can take a little ring to fiddle that through the hole. And before we connect the head to the body, I wanna glue on the teeth of the left mushroom robot, and those are these little pieces here. This kind of playing around with the shapes of the different die cuts and building your own characters is also really much inspired by Pete from Physics. I think all of you know him. In my eyes, he's not only a really, really awesome artist, but he's also just genius. What he's doing with die-cut pieces blows my mind. It blows my mind. When I saw him making a flamingo, and that was also, if I'm not mistaken, with this set, I couldn't sleep for 2 days or so because I was sitting there in front of YouTube. My mouth was open the whole time, and I was like, how the heck is it possible to have such an imagination taking those pieces and make something totally different out of them? Every time when Tim shows cards made by Pete in the live videos, I'm like, what the heck? How has how has he done that? And I'm totally fascinated by his art. So if you don't know Pete, please go to the Physics YouTube channel. You can find several videos where he shows his magic. Just amazing, amazing man. I mean, you can't oversee him. Is that an English word? Hopefully that is an English word. So I've made 2 holes into the shoulders of this here, so that I now can bring my rings through here. And I'm just thinking, let's open this ring again, because I thought, I mean, the ring makes a little bulk, and we can use this space because we will have the bulk anyway. So let's take something, and for that I've chosen this little flower here to add that to this ring. So then I want to assemble the eyes, and I'm going to use some really tiny brads to make my life easier, but I want to have these white, so I'm going to take a white Posca pen, and while those are drying, I'm going to glue this ring, and these little guys here will go on here, and to give these eyes a little more contrast and to make them look a little, yeah, more, I think I can't say more realistic because I mean, what is this? But I want to have this black here as another layer. These are also just two of these die cut dots. So I'm going to take my bread, put that through the black dot here, so that this looks like a dot of light on the black. And then I'm going to take this little piece, and this goes through here. So I've just attached the eyes of this one here in exactly the same way. And as you can see, he looks a little bit sad, and he shall look happy. And now I want to add my mushroom robots to a packaging, because I want to have my ephemera look like earrings on a package, like you would buy them in a shop or so. So I have decided for this thing here, I mean, take a package that you already have. This is from some Tim Holtz ideology. You know, I'm going to use frayed burlap distress paint. And since this is an earring packaging, it should have some writing on here. I mean, you might think I had too much coffee. I've just removed the writing and now I want to put it back here. But I want to make it a little artsy and a little bit more mine. Yeah, so I'm going to use this stamp here and also this one from the Etc. set, CMS 302 by Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous. And to attach the earrings to the package, you need to have something in mind if you have done it exactly like I did it here. Because now, look, this ring is like so, and it's nearly impossible to put that to the package, and it looks a little weird. It has to be a little longer here for my taste, so that it really looks like earrings on the package as well. So I'm going to take two more rings, one for here and one for there. And when we now attach the rings there, these will be in the other direction later, and they can lay flat on the package. You can see that this ring is now flat, and there where my finger is, there later on the package will be, and then it can lay on like so. I'm going to make a hole here to then be able to take this bread, which I've also alcohol inked, so that it matches this orangey color, this rust alcohol ink, so that we then can put that through here. So then we have our little earrings with packaging ephemera. This is really cool. I'm a little bit sad that I can't show you so well how cool this moves around, because you just can't see it. I have to hold it like so that it can move, but then you can't see it, and if I hold it like this it can't move. That's a little bit sad, but this is just cool. And these layers are so flexible and so, yeah, like moving around, that you can play with them, and you can also see the other things that we have done on the surfaces, and I really, really like that. I'm going to use some tarnished brass distress paint again, because I want to make some golden splatters, and after that some white splatters as well. So here we go. These are my mushroom robots junk journal earrings. I hope you like them. So perhaps you want to try that out, and perhaps you want to post your creations on social media. Then you can use the hashtag Dephemerember. And please don't forget to check out Barbara's video, because she is going to show you another idea for today's prompt in her video. Tomorrow, there is the weekend. You can see 3 empty spaces here. That means 3 video-free days. So this is the weekend. You can, of course, relax, drink a coffee with your best friend or something like that. You can also put your own prompts into these empty spaces. Perhaps you have seen something that you want to try out, or perhaps you have some prompts that you want to use for Dephemerember, but they aren't on the list. Then you can use these spaces for those. And of course, you can also take these 3 days to create something from here, what you perhaps have missed, or perhaps you are new here and you want to start today. That is, of course, also possible. Then you have the weekend to create something with these prompts here. So then we are going to see on Monday with the prompt plaid and polka dots. Please touch. You have made the prompt list. Don't ask. Don't ask what that is. But see you on Monday and have a very great and creative day. Bye bye.